In every family, there's one grandchild who is never beating the allegations of being the favorite, even once grandma has been gone over a year. And in my family, that's my cousin Chris. I was so excited whenever we heard he was coming in town, and even more excited whenever he actually told me what he wanted for dinner, because no one ever wants to tell me, and then I'm stuck figuring out what to make in addition to making it. But he said that he could really go for some Alfredo for dinner, and he would like either a cheesecake or chocolate cake for dessert. Now, I know how to make a chocolate cake, but I've never made cheesecake a day in my life, so obviously we went with that because I really like to stress myself out. Whenever I looked at the recipe, it said you needed like 24 hours to make this, but that's really tough because we only have like 5. My mom helped me figure out this spring pan, and I bought it specifically for Chris, so I hope he feels special. I give my crust its little bakey bake while we get to work on the filling. I had to have him help me because this cream cheese was so heavy. Thankfully, his old joints did stand up to the pressure. I'm really glad he lived to tell the tale. Now, I truly did not believe that Chris was my cousin whenever my mom told me this whenever I was younger. I did not realize your cousin could be 20 years older than you. So because of that, I'm going to tease him the rest of his life about how old he is in comparison to little old me. As I was watching this video, I saw us cooking together for just a second, and I thought, oh my goodness, Mama would have loved to be here. If you guys remember, we were always cooking together, and she would be so happy to have multiple grandkids cooking with her. I realized that I should boil some water because you don't just bake a cheesecake. Apparently, it's like a whole scientific experiment / spa experience. You're bathing it in water that's hot. It's like getting a whole little jacuzzi situation. We tap out our bubbles, throw it in the oven. If I throw it in, I mean, you very, very, very carefully place it in this hot water because I thought that the bottom was going to fall out, all the filling was going to go everywhere, and surprisingly, it didn't. This actually went very smoothly. Now we're going to get to work marinating our racks of lamb. It was really funny because I asked Chris what he wanted and made this to his taste for the whole dinner. I never considered to ask him, do you like lamb? He said Alfredo, and I was like, cool, lamb Alfredo, because I have lamb in the fridge. And whenever it came time to eat, he was like, hey, I wasn't going to tell you this. I didn't want to stress you out, but like, I have never liked lamb a day in my life. But he actually got seconds of this. So, I mean, that was like a compliment of the highest order. And I'm really glad that I might have turned him into a lamb stan like me. I really think the reason this is so good is because I give it a deep tissue garlic massage, which honestly, I need one of those. And then you use anchovies just like all over it. And those things are so good. I told everyone, get out of my kitchen so I can finish this and get these marinating before we go to the pool. And that is why I am in my swimsuit getting this cheesecake out of the hot water. It was terrifying. I could have like burnt my skin, had no protective clothing on, but I was risking it for the biscuit because this is for Chris and he's special. Once we got out of the pool, these had time to marinate. I unwrapped them. I usually just cook these wrapped so that way they like stay moist, but I really hate how the outside never gets crispy. So I put them on the rack. I cook them very slowly. And then we're going to do like a reverse sear because we're very fancy over here. For veggies, I just made my chopped Italian salad. I actually made this the last time Chris was here. He's stationed in Japan currently, so we just really don't get to see him as often as we'd like. So I can't believe that I am serving him the same salad twice, as little as I get to cook for him. But this seems to be everyone's favorite salad. They like requested it, and it's honestly so easy. I was just not going to complain about having to make it again. We're going to get to work on the Alfredo. So he requested Alfredo. I've never made Alfredo a day in my life. I looked at the recipe and it was butter, Parmesan, and cream. And I thought there is no way, there has to be more to it. I thought they were lying to me. So I added some razzle dazzle with some garlic and spices. But otherwise, that's pretty much what Alfredo is: cream, butter, and Parmesan. I told you guys that we were going to make this 24-hour cheesecake in about 5, which means we're going to freeze it for 45 minutes so he doesn't get too crystally, and then put it in the fridge to set up. It still wasn't fully set up by the time we ate, but that's besides the point. I'm making 2 types of pasta because Chris wanted some tube penne pasta and I wanted to try something different, and I had to make him feel bad that I had to make him special pasta. Literally, the poor guy was probably so ready to go back to Japan because I just tease him the whole time about how he's special and he's like King Tut. And the way that all this started is because whenever my grandma was on chemo, she was cold all the time. I'm talking, I would go to visit her in December and I'd wear bike shorts because I knew her house was going to be so hot. And like, fair enough, you go through chemo, you set the temperature however you like it, Mama. But whenever Chris came into town, he had no idea that Mama was so cold, and he's like, you know, Grandma, it's a little bit hot in here. And suddenly the woman is like across the room turning on the air conditioner. I don't think she'd used her air conditioner in 6 months. And the rest of us knew that that woman was freezing, but she was like, oh, it's a little stuffy because Chris was hot and she wanted to make sure he was comfortable. So ever since then, we tease him that whatever he wants, he gets, because that's what Mama would want us to do. I figured out how to make Alfredo and cheesecake all in one night simply because that's what Mama would have wanted for Chris. In all honesty though, whenever I think about her, what she really would have wanted is us all eating together, laughing and talking just like we did, but she would have wanted to be right in the center, taking it all in, wondering how she got such a crazy family. So even though we missed her the whole time, I think she'd be pretty proud of us, even if I did make this cheesecake way too tart, because Chris liked it, so she would have still been proud of it.